Skeptics of Christianity and theism in general have claimed that science and religion are incompatible. Many popularizers of this idea, like Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, and others, have tried to tell us that, well, there's no way that somebody can say that scientific truths are true, whether that be about Big Bang, evolution, and all of these other theories that we see in science. They say that these things are incompatible with belief in God. Some go even further and say not only that, it's that Christianity has hindered the sciences. Both of these claims are completely erroneous and without merit. The first one, to say that each of these claims are contradictory, is obviously not true. Because we know theories like the Big Bang are in very well support with theism. Some will say that the Big Bang was the beginning of the universe itself, 13.8 billion years ago to be precise. And some Christians will see, like William Lane Craig, will try to argue that this beginning was the first time the universe existed. This is the moment where time comes into being. Well, Christians can certainly make sense of this because, well, some Christians will say this is exactly what we would expect, given the existence of God. However, some Christians would instead say, well, instead of believing that idea, maybe there really was something before the Big Bang. So someone is very well capable of using an argument from, let's say, Josh Rasmussen, that the universe didn't have a beginning, that maybe it really is eternal and goes into the past, even with the Big Bang. So sure, the Big Bang might be the first moment of our iteration of the universe, but perhaps there was something prior to the Big Bang. These are questions that still have to be answered scientifically. But either way, a Christian can go either side. We see Christians that have always accepted different views on these points. So it's wrong to say that this is somehow contradictory to belief in God. Secondly, I mentioned the evolutionary theory. Evolution merely says that creatures have a common ancestry with one another. This is also not in any way contradictory or inconsistent with the Christian idea. Given the idea that God does exist, why wouldn't He create creatures that would evolve and adapt to certain environmental viewpoints? We would fully expect that creatures would adapt to environments and adapt to where they are as creatures specifically. The one thing, this sometimes can be used as an objection to God, and I definitely don't have the time to go into that today, but there is an argument from evolutionary evil to arguing against the existence of God. I will be doing a video on that very soon, but today that is just out of the scope of this video. But nonetheless, we can use this to show that this is not explicitly contradictory with belief in God. So someone can accept evolution is true, and someone can accept the Big Bang is true, and still be fully theistic, fully Christian, or Muslim, or what have you. Now to the second part of the claim, I mentioned Christopher Hitchens, and I mentioned Sam Harris, because these are the ones that have tried to argue that, hey, it's the Christianity, and just religion in general, they may say, that has got us to where we aren't able to continue to advance the sciences and advance as a species. These claims, as I mentioned, are erroneous because science is a Christian invention. And we know this because we can test this idea. When you just start asking, well, when did science arise and how did it arise? We can fully see that all of the first scientists were Christians. We see Galileo, and we see Copernicus. We see Kepler. We see Isaac Newton. All of these brilliant men were the first scientists, and they were Christians. And it came with the unique idea, as C.S. Lewis said, Men became scientific because they believed in law and nature, and they believed in law and nature because they believed in a lawgiver. This is a very unique viewpoint of the world. And prior to the Christians, you didn't really see this. Now, this isn't to say that we should give some credit to the Greeks and some of these others. Not to say that there was no type of science prior to the Christians, because we also know there was pyramid building. There was all kinds of amazing things even before the Christians. So, that's not necessarily what I'm saying, but what I mean here is that the scientific revolution was a inherently Christian concept. I've also made videos, because I'm sure some people may object and try to say, well, a lot of scientists were killed in opposition to Christianity. If a scientist came along and they were in opposition to the Christian doctrines, then they were killed by the Catholic Church. Well, this is also nonsense, because many people that use these kinds of cases, people have tried to use Galileo, but we know Galileo was not killed for anything about scientifically. He wasn't even killed by the Catholic Church. He was put on house arrest for a different reason. If you would like to know more about that particular case, I have a video here on my channel that I can link in the description, so you can see the full details. But Galileo was not, in any way, shape, or form, killed because of science. Also, Bruno is another case that people would like to talk about. Try to assert that this was a scientist that was killed. And Bruno was certainly not a scientist. So there's these kinds of things that we can test and we can show that not only was Christianity not bad for science, it was actually the opposite. It was needed to do science. So thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know